Anyway, so
Let's clap.
clap again. Take take number 786.
Yeah.
Welcome to the first ever podcast from Gleason Performing Arts Center.
I am Blake.
I'm Josh, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm excited. Are you?
I'm pretty excited. Yeah. So we're here at the Gleason Performing Arts Center in Melbourne, Florida.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us a little about what Gleason is and what we do?
So the Gleason Performing Arts Center is a small theater located on the campus of the Florida Institute of Technology, now known as Florida Tech. 486 seats.
No, 3, dude. Come on.
483 seats.
Like 1,100 square foot stage. You know, come on. Don't you know these facts? Like off the. How long have you been working here?
I mean, why do you know these facts?
Dude, come on. You don't know these facts?
Give us some facts about
Bro,
the Gleason
all
Performing
right,
Arts Center.
ready? So, Gleason Performing Arts Center has 483 seats. Right now, due to COVID restrictions, we're only using 131 of them. So, only our largest classes go into the auditorium for class. And there's an 1,100 square foot stage, excuse me, with two green rooms, a dressing room, prop storage, all that.
Yeah, so basically we're a theater and we don't typically host classrooms or classes in here, but due to the unprecedented times, I hate that phrase.
That is
but,
a very it's a cringe phrase.
we are currently hosting some of the largest classes offered here at the Florida Institute of Technology. Currently, as we talk about this, there are 6 people attending in person for a fluid mechanics class. So it's a largely empty house.
Yeah, no, it's kind of wild. The amount of time that goes into like planning all this out and stuff, and making sure that everything is right for a classroom, and then having nobody show up. I don't know,
It's a little disappointed.
right? I don't know. But anyway, the real reason we wanted to talk today is just trying to figure out what's going on, man. Like, what do you think we should talk about?
Well, I mean, I think you wanted to introduce the people to what we do at the Gleason Performing Arts Center. So typically when there isn't a pandemic going around, we support events and we support arts, basically. So when we do have classes in here, it's band classes, choir. We put on concerts for those classes, like once a semester, I think, for each. But mostly we just kind of do our thing. So departments around campus can submit requests, and if they want to borrow our equipment, we go set it up. So basically we kind of just run around campus setting up truss, lights, sound, whatever the event calls for.
Right. So, like, if you had to describe our equipment in like a sentence, what would you say?
Well, this year we've gotten a lot of upgrades, so I would say very cool. Is how I would describe it, because we've been blessed in buying all this new camera equipment. I think the budget on that was
It's ridiculous, is what it was.
ridiculous.
So we're definitely super excited to be able to start using that stuff.
Last year we were able to buy all new lighting for our space. Before that, the lighting was 20 years old, I believe.
It was very very outdated. We're completely
Dilapidated, just
right, exactly.
dusty, not very
Um,
pleasant to be around.
The cool part about it is now we're a completely LED building. So from the house lights to like the front the front lighting, the down lighting, all that stuff is all LED. We can choose what color we want to use, and like and that kind of stuff. We have a complete camsys. I don't even know how to say
Sure,
it.
yeah.
We'll go with that. It's the Camsys MQ80 is our lighting board, and it's really cool to be able to like, so as a part of Camsys's program, they have what's called Magic Q, which is like the computer program. You know what I'm talking about, the visualizer, and you can go through and you can enter in all the data for your space and all that stuff, and you can insert in the specific lights when you patch them in. So it's really cool to be able to see what you're doing in a visualized setting, and then be able to look at the live setting and be like, wow, that's really cool. Like, this looks the same.
Certainly, and like a lot of the equipment we have isn't the best. Like, obviously, someone could look at any piece of gear we have and say, like, oh, why didn't you buy this? But for us, it was a huge upgrade. Like, for instance, the light board he was just talking about, our old one used floppy disks to load presets. So when I first came on the job, I had to learn how to like operate a floppy disk machine, which I didn't think I would ever have to do, especially at a Florida Institute of Technology.
Right, exactly. You'd think a tech school would be like cutting edge, like
Yeah,
let's go.
so we've actually had huge upgrades to just our equipment. Sound is pretty much the same, but we had Mackie speakers that are somewhat new. A lot of our equipment though is just continually getting better. So even though we are not doing as many events as we used to, we're preparing to be able to do as many events as we can.
Right,
So,
exactly. And that's kind of the idea behind this camera equipment that we got, more like live streaming events and stuff like that. I don't know, like with COVID and everything like that, the amount of stuff that's been going online and like making sure that people can see from home and that kind of thing. We've definitely got some really cool stuff to be able to make sure that happens. Yeah, I mean, it's just neat to be a part of it. And like, is there like one event that you've done that like sticks out in your mind that's like, wow, this is the coolest thing I think we've done?
Since COVID, is it?
Well, no, like even in the past, like, so I guess the first question would be, how long have you worked here?
Well, how long have you worked here, Josh?
I've worked here for about 2 years.
Okay, I've worked here. This is my 4th year working here,
So out
and
of
my
those,
final year.
that's sad.
It's not that sad.
It's sad though. Come on, Blake, you're like you're the guy, you know.
Yeah, I mean, well, like I've been here a long time, but like I also am looking forward to like graduating and not having to pay off student loans.
That's true.
Or I mean, and having to.
I mean, everybody's excited for that.
Yeah, man, it's just so thrilled.
But anyway, in your 4 years of working here at Gleason Performing Arts Center, what would you say is the coolest event that you've done?
Well, the level of coolness that an event has is certainly proportional to the equipment that you're using. So when I first got hired here, we had a facility manager that didn't really care about upgrading anything. He was just kind of like roll with the punches kind of guy. So like with all this all these new toys, basically we're able to do like I mean a lot. Like we put on a concert last semester for Drake Bell, who is a fascinating individual, but like I mean we were able to set up like LED screens, fog out a gym,
It was
truss
awesome.
everywhere. I mean like it's just cool being able to do that, especially compared to my freshman year, for instance. That event would have just been lights off in the gym. Maybe we mounted some lights to the ceiling, but it would have just been speakers and lights, you know?
Right.
We were really able to do just actual like production level
Right.
now, whereas before we were basically, can people hear this?
I gotcha. And I mean, it's a cool way to see that progression. I'm sure that was like something that was impactful for you, is like watching this place that you've worked at for so long and then watching it grow and progress into something that's actually really cool now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we're actually like, I mean, like I mean, I've said this already, but like we're actually able to like do production now. Before it was scuffed.
Right.
It was pretty much every part of our job. I would come into the office for probably 16 or 17 hours every week. Half the time my boss wouldn't be here, and I would just sit in there and do homework. Occasionally the phone would ring, and I was told by my boss to tell his boss who was calling that he was in a meeting. So it's just like, I mean, like now it's like you come into the office and you're like, what are we doing today? Not what homework am I doing today?
Right. Which is, I mean, that's definitely a nice change to be able to not have to worry about that.
Certainly, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's awesome.
The pay is still the same though, so
Yeah.
if my boss is watching,
I'm sure he'll watch the whole thing. Every last bit of this.
please.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Josh, what is the coolest event that you've? I mean, you've only been here for 2 years, so from my eyes, it's like you came with all the new stuff.
Right.
So you've gotten to experience like most. I mean, like all the events you've gotten to experience have been with like all the equipment. Rather,
Right.
the lights are somewhat new, but what is the coolest thing you think we've utilized all our new stuff for?
So we did an event last fall 2019, and It was for Florida Tech's homecoming, and I've never been a part of an event that was that big in terms of like people wise, seating wise, anything like that. So it was really cool to watch like our team go into this space, completely change it from looking at like a gym with basketball hoops and everything like that, to a completely decked out production setup with like I don't know how many tables were there, like 200 tables, sat 500 people, like 3 bars, an entire stage setup with like a bunch of hanging lights. We'd rented huge line array systems for this, and like we just made it seem like it was way more than it was, you know what I mean? And I think that that's really something that's really cool about the way production works in general, is the fact that like you can take an event that like, oh wow, that's pretty cool, and then like make it something that's even cooler than that. You know what I mean?
I mean, certainly. Like, I mean, we are called the Gleason Performing Arts Center, but our job is to make the events happen. It's not to perform the arts.
Right.
Exactly. So, I mean, even with the lesser equipment that we had before, I mean, that's kind of what we do here. Is we enable the arts to do their thing, basically.
Right.
So,
right. Exactly.
Events like that in the gym. Our space is quite small compared to a lot of other like theaters or performing arts centers with the amount of equipment that we have.
Right.
So because of this, a lot of the events we do are not actually in the theater. That's why we drive across all over campus. We have a Pantherium, which is like an amphitheater outside that sometimes we set stuff up at. The gym, as he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So basically we have to kind of be mobile in everything we do. Like a lot of the truss systems we have, we basically store just like on wheels ready to go, so we can take those anywhere and set up whatever they pay for.
Right. I mean, well, yeah. The cool part though, like especially in this kind of space, is you can do some really unique events, you know? So like one event that we've done in particular was like right after we had gotten all the new lighting systems and stuff and gotten everything in place, we did a Gleason showcase, and our bosses Billy and Jeff really pulled out all the stops for that one, and I thought that was really cool to be a part of that one. Do you have any thoughts on that? And like,
I mean, yeah, the showcase was kind of a big deal for us because so Florida Tech is a private university. So what this showcase was a way for us to show all the donators, all the people that helped contribute to this new equipment, show them what we did with it, with the money that they gave us, rather. So, I mean, it was a fancy event, kind of like our bosses were pretty nervous for how the students would behave. Not that there's like behavioral issues, it's just you're working with people that make a lot of money, rather, and they give a lot of money to us. So we want to leave a good impression with them. I mean that event was like interesting because that was one of the first events that we had to plan out what each person was doing beforehand. Right. So the entire staff was on duty, and
everybody had a job.
Before then, it was never really like, I mean, it wasn't really planned or coordinated, rather. So you would show up to an event and you would just do whatever. Sometimes like if like it would be like, hey, you want to run sound now? It's like, sure, like, whatever. And then like sometimes you would just run or go to the event and like your boss isn't even there. Right. So this was like the first time we actually had like a purpose, I guess. So I mean that was really like the beginning of like the like new chapter in Gleason.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean like that was one of like the first events that I had done here, besides some of like the smaller stuff that we had done before. But like that one, in my opinion, really showed me what the team could do. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not only just the fact that like each person is knowledgeable, but like as a team, we really knew what was going on. We knew where things went, like how they worked and what was going on and that kind of stuff. So it was really neat to see the coordination and the camaraderie between people that just made that whole event happen. The cool part was we had a tree sitting outside, and I'll probably try and put a picture in when we edit this back. But there's a tree that we lit outside that's like this really cool, tall, I don't even know what kind of tree it is.
It's a cool tree.
It's a really cool tree.
Lovely.
And We like
Very old.
it is very old. We set up a whole bunch of lights around it, and it really reminded me of Disney World. You know how they like light everything really nice and like make it all look pretty. This tree looked so cool that I was like, oh my gosh, I need to take a picture.
Yeah, I mean, it was sweet. Yeah, we never really thought before like what we could, like, small things like that could add to the event. So it was always just like, what did the event holder pay for, basically,
Right.
instead of what could we do to make this event memorable to the people attending it.
Right.
So I mean, that kind of sums up like the shift that has come with this new equipment and the new the management that has taken over is it's more about how can we put on the best event instead of how can we just
Do what they
do
asked
the
us to
event
do.
with the equipment we have.
Right.
So that's what this all has like enabled us to do, and with this new camera equipment, that will surely
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think I know my answer, but like, what do you think is one of the more challenging parts about this job?
what would you say your answer is? I think I would need to think.
All
about
right,
it.
so like in my opinion, I think the idea of going through, taking an event and breaking it down into its parts, and then building it back up from the bottom, from the ground up. You know what I mean? So like somebody comes to you with an idea and they say, "Hey, I want to put on this event. I want to do this, 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 and this." And you say, "Okay, great. Let's figure out how we can do this practically." Right? Because every idea looks great on paper, but
Certainly.
when you do it in reality, it might not be that great. So, for example, with this Drake Bell concert that you were talking about earlier, we had gone through and we said, all right, we're going to put on a concert and we want to do it in this space with this amount of people, and we do this. Everything was COVID safe. Everything was exactly how it's supposed to be. But it was really cool because like this is the first time that I had been on like the planning side of an event like this. You know what I mean? It always been planned for us before we started. You know what I mean? It was really cool to see the transition from being someone that does a job to being someone that plans and then does the job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that the whole idea of planning and then executing is probably one of the more difficult parts of this one.
I mean, certainly. I mean, I don't know if mine would even be that specific. I've been doing theater and backstage stuff like this for 8 years now. So this is the 8th year I've been doing this, and probably the hardest thing for me would be in that time I've only had one manager that stayed like my manager for more than 1 year, and that, I mean, in this case, this is the first year where it's been the same both years. So I mean, for me, it's probably like just figuring out how to conduct myself within a different like managerial style each year, because you
Okay.
kind of have to relearn the job depending on what they want, because obviously a lot of that floor work, as you're discussing,
Right.
was typically their responsibility before.
Right.
So having to adapt to different like levels of responsibility that they take on, and different like sets of expectations. I mean, not saying that more expectations is a bad thing. I've actually enjoyed the job quite a bit more with that. But I mean, it's just it's a tough question.
I mean, that's kind of a neat
I
way
like my
to-
job.
No,
so.
I mean, I do too. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm thinking that it's wild to me that like I never thought about that. You know what I mean? I never thought about the way that like we went from one management style in the beginning, like in my high school and stuff. I had one management style. Like we didn't really plan out things. We didn't really know how to do that kind of stuff. But now, going to this management style, it's really cool to see the growth that everybody has. You know what I mean?
Indeed, yeah.
I don't know. It's just one of those things. And I mean, you can even see that in places like our like college players. College Players is the theatrical organization on campus that we have here at Florida Tech.
Great people.
And Blake and I have both been a part of many shows through that as well. And it's
Several
neat.
shows.
It's neat to see there's some people that stay the same and there's some people that transition, but it's neat to see the different management styles in that as well. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I mean, sure. So my big thing, the reason I love this job basically is I started from production of musicals and plays and stuff. So I'm kind of the like set guy. So that's actually the part of theater I love is trying to take a story and then make a like set around it. this job is more technical, I would say, because it's just like lights, speakers, how do you do it. Now we have projection, recording, streaming, additional responsibilities with that, but the I mean that sort of creativity of it is like something that this job doesn't have.
Right.
I mean with CP, it was cool because I started off, I basically took charge of that role my freshman year. Like I was here for one semester and then I was doing the like designing. So it's cool, like as you move up, seeing other people take responsibility, as you were saying, like the growth in individuals
Right.
beneath you. I've stepped down now, so there are people that have taken the torch from me, and it's just cool, like being able to see like how they handle it and improve the way you would have.
Right.
Like because you can kind of reflect on.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. And it's, in my opinion, it's cooler to see someone, like, you build something and you say, all right, cool, like, I'm going to pass this off to you. And then you see the next person make it grow even more. I think that's even more rewarding than making it grow yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like watching that next person be like, all right, I got this. Here's what we're going to do, and we're going to make it even better than the last time.
And CP has kind of grown in that regard with Gleason. So
Absolutely.
Us being able to get new tech has allowed them to do cooler stuff with shows. I remember the first show I did with college players was Heather's, and I came from a high school where we were used to getting like $10, $15, $20,000 set budgets to build like actual castles. So it was quite different when I came to this smaller school where we didn't have a lot of technology, we didn't have a lot of stuff going for us, and we built we had like a $500 set budget, and we had to put on a show with $500, and that's not an easy thing to do. I was instantly impressed with how much the people at College Players were able to work with that. But
I think we should also interject that College Players is a completely student-run organization. There's no
completely separated from.
There's no like I don't know. There's an advisor, but there's no like musical director or anything like that. It's all student-run, from production staff to executive board and everything.
Yes,
Sorry.
but with the improvements that we've made to Gleason, we've like the quality of their work has gone up also. So for instance, I inherit, like the first show we did, the set was a platform with stairs on it, and that didn't move for the entire show. So one of the things I introduced was we're working on getting our fly system replaced at the moment, but we had a very old fly system. So I wanted to do more with that. So I introduced like flying set pieces and stuff on wheels, like units, which where I came from is pretty standard. Like that.
Right.
That's how sets work. And then seeing that continue to grow with the people that have taken that on for me is like things are getting cleaner. The designs are getting more elaborate. They're able to do so much more now. Especially with all the stuff that we have.
But it's neat to see that like the stepping stones that you've put in place has really allowed them to flourish like that. Like our last show that we were supposed to do before COVID.
Beautiful set.
It was probably one of the coolest sets I think I've seen us put out.
Gorgeous.
We were doing a production of In the Next Room, kind of a taboo show, but it was really cool to see the type of units. Basically, it was a two-room set for the entirety of the production, and the detail and like the color combinations and stuff, it really I really enjoyed it, and I'm really bummed that we weren't able to make something happen with like performing it or anything like that. But
the thing is, the trend is on the up, right?
Right.
So every year the sets have gotten better. I mean, still talking about just CP. This is them. This isn't even like Gleason at this point. This is just the people that are working with our stuff.
Right.
Every year it's getting better and better. So if that trend continues, I mean, like great things are in store for them and Gleason together, because although we are completely separate, we do depend on one another.
Right.
A lot
Exactly.
For what we do.
Yeah, and I mean, there's been some benefits of COVID as well. I know a lot of people, like we know a lot of people are suffering and stuff, and we our heart goes out to everybody. But we've been able to purchase some really cool equipment as well as College Players, separate from Gleason. Some new microphones and stuff that we're really excited to be able to roll out and stuff. I think it's going to be neat to.
So the state of things before can kind of be summarized in this story. So we would borrow microphones and stuff from Gleason, like lapel mics and stuff. And there was this one time that one of them broke in the middle of a show. So to deal with this, we were putting on a show with I don't know how many people were there. Typically we get maybe around 50 to 100 people for college players shows. But while they're out on stage, I'm having to delegate scene changes to other people while I'm in the back trying to solder this microphone back together. And like this thing's being like, I'm literally taping this thing together. I'm like clicking the metal, like it's just so scuffed. And like I mean that's stuff we had to do a lot. Like it was not like good. Like it was, I mean like we did our best, right? But like I mean the audience would notice that too. It's just like things happened that weren't out of our control. It wasn't reflecting the quality of work that the people putting the show on,
right?
Like put forth. It was just it was scuffed. Like it was not. It was bad. I mean, not to say it was bad, because I mean, like, we did put on some good shows.
Yeah.
And but it's just we were at a point where the equipment was the limiting factor and not the growth of the individuals putting on those shows.
Right. And once we were able to upgrade that equipment and stuff, I'm really excited to see where the production value of these shows will go. You know,
Certainly.
We've definitely we're hoping that we'll see something next year or next semester, for like a full main stage show, but we'll see what happens in that regard. But
yeah, like Les Mis.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
You really think Les Mis will?
I'm here to announce it now.
Yeah, no, that's not official. Not official at all.
Pretty official. On the podcast.
It's on the podcast. Obviously, it's official.
Yeah. All right.
My
So
goodness.
that's a joke because we're limited now by the size of our facility, basically.
Yeah.
So when it comes to set pieces and stuff, that was actually one of the biggest struggles I faced as the set designer. Was designing things that were big enough to look good but small enough to
fit in like a 10 by 10 square.
Because this place did operate before COVID as like a classroom somewhat. So any set that we built couldn't intrude on the operations of like band rehearsal, or just like everything had to be fit in basically like a large closet. It was along the back wall, but it's basically equivalent to that. And
I also think it was really impressive, the fact that you can design something that looks so good from far away, but can also break down into that small of a space, you know?
Well, that's part of the struggle. There's so much that has changed. For instance, my second year doing set design, we put on a show where we weren't allowed to use the space for set construction. I had to drive all the materials and coordinate with everybody to build a set in at the time was our president's garage. And like if you've ever like we had to like drive a bathroom down University Boulevard like once we were done constructing. There's just so much that's happened and so much that's gotten better. It's honestly like a different organization.
Yeah.
So over the years we've just been able to like improve pretty much every aspect of the Gleason Performing Arts Center.
Yeah, and subsequently college players as well in that respect.
Well, of course, yeah.
So
part of that was them letting us back in the building. But
yeah, well, yeah, that's water under the bridge there. Yeah,
sure, yeah.
Yeah, I really think that with the way that things have been progressing and stuff, and the way and the transitional period that we've been having at Gleason, and now into like some really cool production value events we put on and stuff, I really think that these next couple years will be some of the best.
Sir, I'm actually, as I said, like this is my last year. I have like literally months until I'm unemployed. So, I'm actually like, even though I'm not going to be part of the Gleason team after that, I'm super excited to see just how far it goes, because like just in the 4 years I've been here, it's been the transformation has been like night and day. It's actually incomparable. So like years from now, like just how we'll be able to fully utilize everything that we have. I'm actually super excited to see.
I don't know. Is there one thing that you wish that Gleason would have and or do and or?
Oh, I mean headsets, yeah.
Headsets.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Clearcom headsets.
Yeah. So I mean that's probably the biggest thing that I wish. I mean I feel like it's pretty standard, but like at the same time I understand not having headsets in the venue because a lot of our events are not in the venue. I would say actually most of our events are somewhere else on campus.
But I think that's something that like current management's trying to figure out. You know what I mean?
I hope so. Yeah. But like I not to like I mean I said that kind of, but like equipment wise, it's like once we get headsets. I mean next is obviously probably we just got our bread and butter is lights and sound, right? So. Right. We just did lights, so okay, it's not sound, right? It's not the biggest mystery to figure out where it's going next. So I mean once we get like headsets and stuff, I mean you have to be able to communicate during an event, especially a big event like we do in the gym. You can't just like send hand signals to people like
smoke signals. How cool would that be? Imagine putting like a fan over the fog machine and be like
that would be all. I mean like if Jeff tried to teach me smoke signals,
that would be cool.
That would not be cool.
You don't think?
I mean, some of our old lights did emit smoke, so it's.
Hey, you never know. It's practical training on the job, you know.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, but anyway, with that, I mean.
Yeah. So, Gleason Performing Arts Center.
Yeah, come subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate you coming and watching this, and if you've seen it all the way through, thank you. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
483 seats.
483 seats.
Wow.
That was awkward.
Knowledgeable staff.
Do you want to redo that? Like, that was just like just bad.
We can try. All right.
I would instantly like click off this video.